The old saying is, nothing happens till somebody sells something. Am I correct? We sell our kids on eating their peas, we sell whoever what, we buy a car, we're selling it to someone else. But really, what's the real key after you sell something? Follow-up. That's where the fortune is. The definition of follow-up: an action or a thing that serves to increase the effectiveness of a previous one. The action or the thing that serves to increase effectiveness. We heard Eric speak about follow-up. Losing his friend because he didn't follow up, right? He didn't get to see him before he died. How many of us are so busy, we're running like in a hamster wheel, and follow-up never happens? I took a poll of almost 1,000 people and found the biggest fault in their business was follow-up. Second was time management, and third was organization. Now, my sales career started when I was a young gal. I lived in a community, there were about 80 houses, and the kids gathered all the time, and it was a summer day. Here were about 15 of us gathered under a tree, ready to cause some kind of trouble, but not really. We were sitting there talking about how can we make some money. Remember those days? We always wanted to make money. And one of the kids said, let's all have lemonade stands. And we all thought this was great. We lived in a big community. We'd all have lemonade stands up and down the streets. Wow! We could fill those thirsty, dry mouths, and how much fun this would be. Well, I raced home, and as I was coming in the door, my father pulled into the driveway. I was so excited, I said, Dad, I've got an idea. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Or in those days, I said, I'm looking to make some money. And he said, okay, well, let's think about this. And we went into the kitchen, and my mother was canning tomatoes. There were a sea of red tomatoes all over the countertop. Wow, my father grew the best tomatoes. They were large, juicy, red beefsteaks. I'm a Jersey girl. That's a tomato. And as we sat there at the kitchen table, Dad said to me, really, lemonade? He said, how many others are going to sell lemonade? I said, I don't know, maybe 10 of us. He said, I want you to think about this. You know, you want to be a young salesperson. Maybe lemonade isn't a good idea. And all of a sudden I felt, boy, the wind was taken out of my sails. He said, now I want you to sit here. I've got to go downstairs, talk to Mom a little bit, and see if you can come up with some other idea. Oh, I was sitting there, you know, a little upset that he took, you know, what am I going to do? Mom says, well, look around. And it hit me. Tomatoes. I could sell ripe, red, juicy tomatoes. Dad came back upstairs and I said, Dad, guess what? I figured it out. I could sell tomatoes. Smart man he was. He wanted me to own that. He wanted me to come up with that idea. Next thing I know, we're going down in the basement, getting my little red wagon, preparing it to send it on its way to sell these tomatoes. We got little cartons, and I went up and down the street selling tomatoes. What an adventure. And I did well. Everybody wanted Bill Carter's tomatoes. Well, at the end of the season, my father sat me down again. He says, well, Jean, now what are you going to do next? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I think you need to gather all their names and addresses and send them a thank you card. And I did. I called some. No email. No texting. I had to go to their door. Do we do that today? No, let me text them, give me your address. Gathered all the addresses, and I sat down and I wrote everyone a card. He said, but it doesn't stop there. And it was now Christmas time. So what are you going to do next? You want to bring those customers back, don't you? He said, how about a Christmas card? And we sent Christmas cards. Needless to say, I'd see the neighbors, wow, Gene, thanks for the card. This was great. We can't wait to get your tomatoes next year. And my business continued from tomatoes to carrots to radishes to lettuce. And I grew an exceptional business as a kid. But the fortune lied in the follow-up. Had I not followed up, maybe all those customers I had gathered wouldn't be back for the following years. I learned a valuable lesson. My father never gave me the ideas. I owned the idea to find that fortune. So let me ask you, if the fortune lies in the follow-up, are you willing to do the work?